Hey guys, let me give you an update on my loofahs. And winter is actually heading our way soon. So I'm going to show you a couple of things that I'll be doing to hopefully help to encourage these fruits to continue to grow bigger before it actually gets really cold. So stay with me and I'll show you guys what I have done, I have built to support these loofahs. As you can see, I got loofahs growing behind and around me. This year, loofah has been growing very different than last year because we had a long, cool season all the way till like the first or second week of July. Then it started to warm up. And because of that, and being in a narrow garden with a lack of sun, it ended up taking the loofahs much longer to reach the top of the trellis. And then it started growing crazy by early October. Of course, I'm very thankful for that, but I'm also kind of anxious, hoping that these fruits are going to make it. That's why I thought this was going to be the last trellis that I'm going to be building here. And then I built another one. The loofah is growing so well in different directions that I thought I needed to put one more trellis up, and so this is probably going to actually be the last trellis. You see, I think the slope, the slant makes sense in my specific space because the sun actually rises this side. I mean, yes, rise from here, and then it sets this side. Building on a slant would allow full sun through this entire trellis. Let's first talk about the challenges that have been going on this year with the loofahs. The things I've been having issues with this year are critters. These rodents just wouldn't leave my fruits, my loofah buds alone, and the younger, female loofah flowers. So I started setting up cameras all along to like hunt them down. And let me know if you guys got any tips about how to deter them or what should I do about them. Leave a comment below. Just for now, we're kind of like living with them around and trying to keep my fruits not being eaten. So this is what I did. At the beginning, when the flowers came in, I just started, whoa, a bird literally just flew right by. Yeah, so the first thing I did was when the flower buds were small, I started just using, reusing, plastic bottles, like water bottles, different sizes. It kind of created this cage for these female flowers and the male flowers, anyway, all sorts of different buds, especially have a limited amount of these sort of bottles. I was being more selective on which ones I wanted to protect. And usually the ones I was protecting are the ones that are getting really close to actually blooming, or the female flowers that are getting really plump, like the really healthy ones. Those are the ones I really want to save. And then they open, I hand pollinate. There's lots of bees all around, but I do want to make sure that I get them to fruit. So a lot of you guys were asking me about the seeds because I was posting them on the website, but last year, I had the critter issues. They kind of like leave me alone for a while and then they come back. And so last year they actually ate a lot of the flowers. So it was just not a successful year, but I'm hoping that this year I should be able to have some seeds available for you guys on the website. The variety of loofah that I grow is much different than the types I've seen elsewhere. The biggest pro to growing this type of loofah is that, see, this is the biggest one I have right now. They can get a little longer than this actually, but because the weather is not fully in our favor right now, this is the biggest loofah I have this year. This is probably about the average size, or slightly on the bigger side, but they can get maybe a few more inches longer than this, up to roughly 2.5 to 3 feet long. And they're still edible at that size. Normally loofahs would start to get really fibrous once they get about, I think, this size, or a size of like a good sized cucumber, and then they'll really firm up and get really fibrous, start to just you know, dry up and so that you can use it as a sponge. This one, you can dry it to use as a sponge also, but it takes much longer because it's such a large gourd. It stays soft and, you know, tender for you to eat, even at a size like this. So they do take longer if you want to dry them for sponges, but it's super cool that you're able to just use one whole thing for your body. But yeah, this is the largest one I have so far. Hopefully the rest of them will catch up. Okay, so another thing I do at this point is, again, to focus this energy on just getting the ones that are, you know, the existing fruits to continue to get bigger. So I would actually start to remove the loofahs that doesn't look like there's a good chance. For example, see how that one is actually more brown? And another sign I know that this one is going to be bad anyway, because this part is actually thinning. It's not as plump, so it's drying out. I might as well just make a cut there. Thank you. I also should remove any extra branches. If you can see that one right there, it's not nice. In fact, I'm just going to cut this whole thing off because there it goes. Thank you. So I don't need the plant to, you know, grow any bigger. I just want them to continue producing these existing fruits. And then another thing is to try to leave a good amount of space, for light to kind of come through. And that also helps the bees to come in to pollinate. Otherwise, they can't see the flowers. So growing in a small space, this is how I maintain it. If there's like too many leaves overlapping, I would just come in and give it a trim. Just kind of thinning out the vines so that light can come through and the bees can see the flowers. Especially if you're growing in limited space, you're able to wrap a lot of these, the stems, you know, back and forth. If you have fewer leaves, it wouldn't take up that much room. And you can just lay them, you know, just on top like that. And I do have some white spiky chayote sharing this trellis. Loofahs really prefer temperature between 70 to 80 something. So when our weather kind of dips down to the 50s right now, it's a little challenging. The plant itself looks really healthy, so thank goodness. But I do notice a few little weird things going on. You know, sometimes like I'm so sure that I have pollinated them well, right? But then suddenly I would notice the stem is like about to break. I don't know if this is because the critter, you know, bit it at night, or is it just because of the weather is not really fully, you know, in favor of growing loofahs right now. And then another sign you know that the fruits are not setting correctly is like this one in front here. It's the stem would start getting thicker, which is usually a good sign that the fruit's forming, and then this is really plump. However, it just it stopped, and then it's starting actually turning yellow here and drying out, and it's like much firmer than here, which you see that this actually gives, and this one is just, yeah, so this one is no good. At this time of the year, I really just want to focus the plant's energy to be, you know, getting the fruits that are already setting to get as big as they can. One way for me to do this is to remove this one. I have to cut this one as well. But don't worry, I'm going to show you how I can still sort of eat this thing. Loofahs, thank you. It's actually edible at any stage once the fruit sets, as long as it's, you know, tender enough to eat. They are edible. See how this one is protected, and then once it gets too big for these bottles, that's when I would switch up and put a baggie over them. Right now, this is so dense. It actually tastes more like a squash, kind of like a little bit like a softer zucchini. But when you get this a little bigger, the loofah would have more of like a little more fluffy texture. It'll taste more like a marshmallow. Something else I really enjoy eating is that when you cut these stems, this thick stem, let me just cut this part. You can actually eat this whole thing. So good. Just peel this, this outer skin. Peel it so it's just really like crunchy and like not stringy at all. It's so refreshing to eat this. That's what it looks like. This one's a little mature, so it's still got a little more stringiness to it. But after I remove that, it's a little sweet. It's like, how would I describe this? Kind of like cucumber-ish. Like cucumber, but with a little bit more texture of like the white part of a watermelon. So refreshing. That's it, you guys. I hope you had enjoyed this video. Check back in for updates in the future. I'll let you guys know how these guys will do in probably like in a month or so. And yeah, if you're interested in these seeds, when they are available, I will put them on the website. But I do have some other, plants and seeds on the website available right now. If you are interested, I will leave the link below for you. I'll see you right back here in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.